There's a feeling you get, standing on the edge of the infinite. A sense of wonder, of boundless possibility. It's a promise whispered in the silence between stars. A promise Bethesda Game Studios has been making to us for decades. They promised us we could be anyone, go anywhere, that just over the next hill, through the next dungeon door, we'd find a story that was uniquely ours. A world that felt real, handcrafted, dangerous, full of that signature Bethesda magic. And then, they promised us the galaxy, 1,000 worlds, an entire universe to explore. Starfield. It was supposed to be their magnum opus, the culmination of everything they'd ever learned. So why does it feel so small? Why does their grand, sprawling universe feel more like a series of disconnected rooms? And why, after all this time, do I feel so incredibly let down? Don't get me wrong. It's pretty. Sometimes. In the way a stock photo of a beach is pretty. But the beauty in Starfield is a facade. A gorgeous, high-resolution wallpaper stretched thin over a skeleton of outdated ideas. Today, let's talk about why Starfield isn't just a disappointment, it's a relic. The core promise of a Bethesda game has always been exploration. The joy of getting lost. In Skyrim, you'd pick a direction and walk. You might stumble on a hidden cave, an ancient tomb, a hunter being attacked by a bear. The world felt organic, lived in. Every discovery, big or small, felt like yours. Starfield trades that masterful illusion for a mathematical one. 1,000 procedurally generated worlds. And what does that mean in practice? It means that for every stunning, handcrafted city like Neon or New Atlantis, there are hundreds, literally hundreds, of planets that are just nothing. Barren wastelands of rock and dust, populated by the same 5 recycled outposts, the same copper-pasted caves, and the same handful of bored pirates. The illusion of discovery is shattered the third time you find the exact same industrial outpost with the exact same audio logs and the exact same enemy placement on 2 different planets in 2 different star systems. The universe shrinks. The magic dies. And the thing that truly kills it. The knife that cuts the immersion into 1,000 little pieces. This. The loading screens. It's not just an interruption. It's the entire structure of the game. You don't fly your ship. You pilot a series of menus. Exploration isn't a journey, it's a series of fast travel points disguised as spaceflight. It's less like being an intrepid explorer and more like being a cosmic delivery driver, constantly clocking in and out. In their quest to build a universe, Bethesda forgot to build a cohesive world. Perhaps the most damning thing about Starfield is that, in so many ways, it's a worse Bethesda game than the ones that came before it. Think about the environmental storytelling in Fallout 4. You could walk into a ruined building and piece together a whole tragedy just from the skeletons and the objects scattered around them. Or the sheer, breathtaking verticality of Skyrim's dungeons. Remember descending into Black Reach for the first time? That sense of awe and dread? Where is that in Starfield? That handcrafted detail, that sense of history baked into the world, has been replaced by scale, by quantity over quality. The Bethesda jank we used to find charming was endearing because it was a crack in a masterpiece. A funny glitch in a world that felt alive. Here, the jank feels less like a charming quirk and more like a symptom of a deeper creative fatigue. The soul is missing. And the writing. Oh, the writing. The main quest is a sterile, galaxy-trotting fetch quest that lacks any sense of urgency or personal stakes. Your companions are walking exposition dumps with the emotional range of a service robot. They'll like that or dislike that, but rarely do they feel like real people living in this world with you. But a mediocre world can be saved by a great story, right? Well, about that. Starfield's main quest is fine. It's a perfectly serviceable sci-fi adventure. But that's all it is. In a world of 1,000 planets, the story feels remarkably small, constrained, and, dare I say, boring. The characters are forgettable, the stakes never feel particularly high, and the central mystery of the artifacts is more of a MacGuffin hunt than a compelling narrative driver. Remember the Dark Brotherhood questline in Oblivion? The intricate web of assassinations, the shocking betrayals, or the moral ambiguity of choosing a faction in New Vegas? Those were stories that stuck with you, that made you feel like you were a part of a living, breathing world. Starfield's faction quests, while having some interesting moments, ultimately feel like self-contained little adventures that have no real impact on the larger galaxy. But a game isn't just its world or its main story. It's the moment-to-moment experience, the rhythm of how you play. And this is where Starfield truly begins to fall apart. It's not one single, catastrophic failure. It is a death by 1,000 paper cuts. Let's talk about choice, or rather, the illusion of it. Bethesda Games once excelled at letting you shape your story. Remember deciding the fate of Megaton with a single, explosive decision? In Starfield, your choices rarely matter. You can be a pirate with a heart of gold or a hero with a sarcastic streak, but you're always funneled down the same path. The galaxy doesn't react to you. Factions you betray will still greet you with open arms. The consequences are so fleeting, so insignificant, they might as well not exist. And while you're making these non-choices, the game actively punishes you for engaging with its world. The encumbrance system in Starfield isn't a mechanic, it's a fun killer. You're a spacefaring explorer, a collector of alien artifacts and advanced weaponry, yet you have the carrying capacity of a toddler with shallow pockets. Every exciting piece of loot is weighed against the tedious, joyless chore of inventory management. You spend less time marveling at your discoveries and more time on the floor, painstakingly deciding which rock to drop so you can pick up a slightly different rock. So you decide to sell your haul. You fast travel across 3-star systems, sit through 4 loading screens, and arrive at the commercial district of a major, futuristic city, only to find that the merchants have about 2,000 credits to their name. You're a legendary starfarer with a cargo hold full of rare alien technology, and you can't even pay your bar tab because the entire galactic economy is apparently run on pocket change. Your only option? Find a chair and wait. 4 days. Just waiting for a number to go up. This isn't gameplay, it's an accounting simulation, and a bad one at that. And then there's this. The conversation. Every time you talk to someone, the game wrenches the camera from your control and forces you into this awkward, claustrophobic head-on view. It's a relic from a decade ago. We are face to face with these uncanny valley puppets, forced to stare into their dead eyes while they deliver pages of the most sterile, uninteresting dialogue imaginable. There's no dynamic camera work, no environmental context, just you and a talking mannequin who seems to have forgotten how to blink. It's an apathy that extends to every corner of the design. The weapons are forgettable, lacking the personality and creativity of Bethesda's past. The skills feel like tiny, incremental stat boosts rather than game-changing abilities. It all feels so disconnected, so sterile. It's a game made of 1,000 systems that never coalesce into a satisfying whole. A galaxy of systems, a universe of potential. But a machine this large is only as good as its smallest parts. And when you look closely at Starfield's core mechanics, at the very bones of its design, you don't find the intricate clockwork of a master craftsman. You find mismatched parts, half-finished ideas, and echoes of better games. Let's start with you. Your character. In a good RPG, a skill tree is a path of possibilities. In Starfield, it's a bureaucratic nightmare. Do you want to be a master pilot, capable of handling a massive freighter? Too bad. First, you have to waste points on something you don't care about, just to meet the prerequisites. Do you want to be a charismatic leader with a large crew? Get ready to grind for hours, killing aliens on some desolate moon to earn the XP you need to put a single point in the ship command skill. Your character's growth isn't guided by your choices or your playstyle. It's dictated by a tedious, arbitrary grind that actively works against role-playing. This half-baked approach infects nearly every major mechanic. Stealth is so unreliable it feels like a dice roll in a game of chance you're destined to lose. And base building? What is the point? In other games, a settlement is a home, a source of income, a creative outlet that ties you to the world. In Starfield, it's an isolated, resource-draining chore with no meaningful integration into the story or the economy. It's a feature that exists on a checklist, but not in the actual, playable game. And when you get tired of fighting the game's own systems, you might hope to lose yourself in the lore. But even here, the universe feels hollow, like a soundstage dressed in borrowed costumes. You land in Aquila City, the heart of the Freestar Collective, and you find a space western town. It's a fantastic concept, but the execution feels paper-thin. It begs for a comparison to a masterpiece like Red Dead Redemption, and it crumbles under the weight. In Red Dead, the world breathes. Towns feel alive with routines, the wilderness is unpredictable, and every character feels grounded in their environment. Aquila City, by contrast, is just a set. The mud is just a texture, the citizens are just mannequins with a handful of lines, and the frontier is just another loading screen away. It's the aesthetic of a Western, without the soul. It's the same story in the so-called pleasure city of Neon. Let's be explicit. This is Starfield's attempt to give us Cyberpunk 2077's Night City, and the result is frankly embarrassing. Where Night City is a dense, multi-layered urban nightmare that feels oppressive and alive, Neon is a single street on a metal platform over an ocean. The corporate corruption and cybernetic intrigue that Cyberpunk explores with such grit and moral complexity are reduced to a simplistic, forgettable quest line. It's a theme park ride of a cyberpunk city, giving you the neon lights and the rain, but none of the danger, depth, or masterful world-building that makes that genre compelling. The lore isn't just uninspired, it's a collection of ideas cribbed from better games, leaving the universe without a unique voice or a history that feels real. And nowhere is this contempt for the player's intelligence and time more apparent than in the game's central quest: the search for the artifacts. For every single temple you need to find, the game forces you into the most archaic fetch quest imaginable. You must fly back to the lodge, sit through the loading screens, run to Vladimir, get a single location, then run back to your ship. In a universe with faster-than-light travel and instantaneous communication, this vital information apparently can't be sent in an email. It's a deliberate, cynical design choice to force you to waste time traveling, to pad out the game's length with meaningless commutes. And what do you find at the end of these journeys? A colossal, reality-bending alien structure that no one else in the galaxy has apparently ever noticed. These aren't hidden ruins in remote corners of space. They are often in plain view, sometimes on settled planets, yet you are always the first person in human history to walk inside. It completely shatters any sense of immersion or believable discovery. This lazy design extends to the very enemies you fight. The Starborn, beings who have transcended space and time, show up with all the personality of a traffic ticket. Who are they? What do they truly want? The game barely cares to explain. They exist as little more than repetitive, annoying combat encounters, teleporting around with no clear strategy, serving only as a momentary obstacle before you get back to the real grind. And it all culminates in this. The game's ultimate mystery, the key to understanding the universe, is treated with all the reverence of a mobile game. You float through sparkles. That's it. There's no puzzle to solve, no lore to uncover, no challenge to overcome. It is the exact same mindless, repetitive task over and over again. It is the single most soul-crushingly boring activity I have ever been forced to endure in a major RPG, and it is the very core of Starfield's main story. It's not just a failure of creativity, it's a fundamental misunderstanding of what makes a journey feel epic and worthwhile. What is the single greatest promise of science fiction? What is the dream that has fueled our journey to the stars, both in our imaginations and in our games? It's the promise of meeting something new. The chance to encounter life so utterly different from our own that it expands our understanding of the universe itself. It's a promise that countless stories have delivered on, giving us entire galaxies teeming with unique cultures, ancient histories, and complex alien politics. And what does Starfield, a game with 1,000 planets, offer us? Nothing. The developers proudly touted their NASA punk aesthetic, a design philosophy that, in practice, seems to be a creative excuse for a universe that is shockingly sterile and devoid of intelligent life. This wasn't a bold choice. It was a profound failure of imagination. Think of the richness a game like Mass Effect built through its diverse species. The political tension with the Turians, the philosophical depth of the Asari, the tragic history of the Krogan. These weren't just aliens. They were entire cultures that made the galaxy feel ancient, complex, and truly alive. Starfield throws all of that potential away. In its place, every planet that supports life is just another permutation of the same, tired ecosystem. You'll find lumbering herbivores to be scanned and aggressive, six-legged predators to be shot. They are obstacles, not wonders. They are fauna in its most boring, video-gamey sense, following the same stupidly simple predator-prey dynamics whether you're in the heart of the galaxy or its furthest reaches. By choosing to show us a universe populated only by humans and space vermin, Bethesda didn't just miss an opportunity. They rejected the very core of what makes a galactic adventure so compelling. They gave us 1,000 worlds, and not a single new mind to meet. But the final nail in the coffin isn't just that Starfield fails to live up to its own legacy. It's that it feels completely, hopelessly outdated compared to its contemporaries. The rest of the world has moved on. In 2015, The Witcher 3 gave us side quests with more emotional depth and narrative complexity than Starfield's entire main story. In 2020, Cyberpunk 2077, especially after its redemption arc, gave us a single city that feels more dense, more alive, and more immersive than any of Starfield's 1,000 planets. You can feel the grime and the ambition of Night City. Starfield's universe just feels sanitized. And then there's Baldur's Gate 3, a game that has set a new gold standard for player agency, for reactivity, for quests that twist and turn based on your every decision. It treats you like an intelligent player. Starfield, by comparison, feels like it's on rails. Your choices feel cosmetic, your impact on the world negligible. It's a game from 2012 that was accidentally released in 2023. It's a beautiful, expensive flip phone in a world of smartphones. It does the basic things, sure, but it lacks the sophistication, the integration, and the magic we now expect. The disappointment so many of us feel isn't born from hate. It's the opposite. It's a quiet heartbreak born from love. A love for a studio that defined our digital lives, that gave us worlds we could inhabit for hundreds of hours. We wanted to love Starfield. I wanted to love Starfield. I wanted that sense of wonder back. But in the end, the game is a perfect metaphor for its own universe. From a distance, it is a breathtaking collection of twinkling lights, full of promise and mystery. But when you try to get closer, to actually touch it, you find there's nothing there. Just a vast, cold, and beautiful emptiness. We were promised the stars, but we were just given a planetarium. A perfect, sterile, and ultimately hollow projection of what could have been. And the silence of that empty space is the most disappointing sound of all.